button, and I'm going to hit this button. And guess what? I'm going to hit this button, and we are live.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
How's
everybody.
it going? How
Right?
y'all doing today? Right? So, Chris,
Yes,
looks like the
sir.
sun's out there.
What's
Good
that?
deal. We got the sun out here today, too. The sun's out here
Yes.
also,
Yes.
but kind of,
We
it's
have
still chilly.
sunshine.
I think we're in the, maybe somewhere in the mid 50s or something, I think. I'm not sure, but
We're
somewhere around
51.
there. 51? Yeah, I think we're probably right around that same area.
We got up this morning, we had 28, and we had a
Ooh,
really
yeah,
heavy frost. And Jerry got up and looked
yeah.
out the window, and he said, "It snowed." And I'm like, "No, it didn't snow." But it looked
It's
like
raw.
it.
Yeah.
It
So,
looked like it.
tell me about this new friend you got, Clayton.
Oh, Lord. Oh, poor little old Clayton. Let me tell you about Clayton. So, Clayton is our elf on the shelf. And we got Clayton last year. We adopted him last year. And my son had never, he didn't even know what an elf on the shelf was. I mean, sincerely.
Right. Yeah.
I think he had, let me rephrase that. In school, they had an elf on the shelf in the classroom.
Okay.
So he was familiar with the fact that the elf is supposed to be Santa's eyeballs and ears to, kind of let, hey Patty, to kind of let Santa Claus know that you're being pretty good, right? And not that you're just being pretty good, but listening for the things that you might like to have for Christmas, right? And so the teacher was using the elf to keep the kids in control that, last few weeks before Christmas holiday. And I get it. I'm
Yeah.
going to raise my hand here and admit that I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
my son didn't really understand that there was more to the elf on the shelf other than him just appearing and watching and that he moves all the time, right? And so
Yeah.
last year was a lot of fun. And Joe and I actually compared notes earlier today because for the first time in a very long time, we've had an opportunity to communicate with each other today. So we've done a lot of talking today, which is good. We've got to catch up. But we were talking about how
Yeah.
hard it is to move a damn elf on the shelf and be creative, right?
For 30 days or however many days it is almost. It's
Sure.
yeah.
Right.
I
So,
mean, I'm glad they magically moved on their own, but whoo.
yeah, I
It's like,
almost got caught once or twice last year moving the elf on the shelf. And,
yeah,
Jerry has very strict instructions. If you touch him, he will go away and he will never come back. So you can't touch the elf on the shelf,
exactly.
you know?
Right.
And
Right.
so if he'd have seen me touching the elf on the shelf, it would have been a bad day. But
Exactly.
this is kind of where I am, y'all. And I'm just going to be real transparent here. Jerry's 9 this year. Although he's
Yeah.
special, he's very, very, very intelligent. I don't know how much longer he will deflect the negativity and the information that he gets from school from the other kids, because the other kids have been saying for 2 years now, there's no Santa Claus, there's no this, there's no that. And he still believes. And as long as he believes, I will play the role, because there's nothing
Right.
any more magical than a child that truly believes that, there's magic, right?
Yeah.
So, um, you know, Elf on the Shelf's not supposed to come until the 1st of December. I don't know if you guys are real versed, but let me educate you. He's not supposed to come till the first day of
Yeah.
December, but our elf on the shelf, Clayton, he came yesterday. And the reason he came yesterday was because there was some mean little kids in school Monday and Tuesday that were telling Jerry that there was no such thing as the elf on the shelf, and he didn't come to their house, and Santa Claus was just a big fat man with a pillow in his suit and a fake beard, and Jerry was a little upset. So I said, you know what? Clayton's going to come early this year because this could be my last year, right? Of innocent, I call it innocent Christmas. So he came. He didn't bring any gifts, but he put himself in Bella's stocking, and then he hung his little bitty tiny stocking over top of Bella's stocking on her hook. So, and Jerry come out this
Oh,
morning for breakfast, and when he saw Clayton in Bella's stocking, like he hit the floor. You'd have thought somebody knocked his legs out from under him. He was crying and excited and you know, to me that's the magic of Christmas. Just saying, y'all.
yeah, it is.
You know.
That's good.
So
That is
I'm
good.
I'm I'm concerned, Joe, because I'm going to tell you. You know, you and I do a lot of heavy talking. I mean, you and I probably are the most walls down, shields down, transparent
Yeah.
talking people that I know. I mean, I got a couple other people that I'm pretty transparent with, but you know, if we let a word slip or something, it's no big deal with us. But here's
Right.
my quandary with this is I want to transition Jerry, right? Because I don't know, like,
Mhm.
is his specialness going to kick in this area or not? We don't know these things. We're still learning our son, okay? And so what I want to do is when he realizes that Santa Claus is, I don't want to say he's fictitious because he's really not. Because in my mind and in my heart, we're all Santa Clauses and we just don't give ourselves credit, okay? So, but what I do
Right.
want to do is I want to get him to a point where he transitions from believing in Santa Claus is coming to bring him gifts to, hey, I'm Santa Claus and I'm going to give other people gifts, you know? And that's a crazy transition. I don't know what age that is supposed to be. I'm confused. Joe, did you freeze again? Really? Ah, Patty, is Joe froze on your end? Oh my goodness. Joe. Ah, I think Joe hits a button. I think Joe hits a button and freezes himself. I'm convinced he does it on purpose just to leave me sitting here. Love you, Joe. I really do. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So, all right, I'll just continue on. Um, so really, sincerely, I want to make sure that when my son transitions from, hey, Santa Claus brings me gifts to Santa Claus gives other people gifts, um, I want to be able to make sure that for me, he is understanding. Okay. See, I was brought up in a home where Santa Claus um, was very visual. Okay. And I thank my parents. Joe said I shouldn't have said Santa Claus isn't real. It kicked him out. So, um, you know, for me, Santa Claus was very visual. We did a lot of Santa Claus decorations. We did the milk and cookies. We did the letter to Santa. We did it all, right? And so in my home, in my childhood home, my understanding of Santa Claus was deep. And then just the year that I was kind of like, Santa Claus isn't real, right? My parents had a friend who kind of favored Santa Claus a lot. He had a white beard and he had white hair, and it was real easy to dress this guy up, right? And make him look like Santa Claus in the middle of the night, in the middle of a night, one night, and it was weeks before Christmas. Um, I heard a noise. Well, they deliberately woke me up in my sleep, right? About midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that. But they made noise until I woke up, is what happened. And so I, being the kid that I was, my parents were in their bed and they were all nestled in, and so being the nosy little kid that I was, because I was very curious as a child and still am really, and I snuck around the corner, and I could hear something. And I snuck around the corner and I saw Santa Claus in a red suit. Now, mind you, his back was to me, right? And he was playing around and moving stuff, and my gifts came early that year from Santa Claus. But I wasn't allowed to open them. They had to stay under the tree until Christmas morning, right? And then so I asked my parents the next morning, I got caught. I got caught going back to my bedroom. That was all the plan too, right? They were awake. They knew that I was up. They knew I had seen him. They probably heard me gasp because I went, right? So, yeah. So the next morning, we're having breakfast, and I'm getting ready to go to school. And I am a firm believer in Santa Claus. He exists. I have seen him. He is real. You can't tell me he's not, because I have seen him. And this was my conversation with my classmates. And I want to say I was probably in the 4th grade. That seems to kind of be the time frame that I'm thinking. But anyway, I asked my mom during breakfast. I'm like, because my dad was gone to work already, and she's getting me ready for school. And I said, well, how come he came early? Like, I don't understand. I thought he came on Christmas Eve night, And she said, well, Santa Claus has so many kids now, and he has to visit every child on the planet, right? Like on the earth. And we were learning planets and stuff in school. So my mom was kind of trying to key all this stuff in for me. And she said, so he has to come early to a lot of places. And I was like, are you kidding me? And she was like, no, seriously. And I was like, okay. So he came early because he has so many kids to talk to and visit and deliver to. She's like, yeah, she really did. And I mean, she really took it the whole 9 yards, right? And so I probably believed in Santa Claus a lot longer than most kids do. I think I was 12 or 13. I was a preteen or teenager before I gave up Santa Claus. That would be awesome for me if I could do that for my son. It was such a beautiful, innocent time in my life. And so when I think of Santa Claus, I think of innocence. I think of beauty. I think of love. I think of, uh, you know, I think of all the things that you could associate with greatness, right? And I enjoy all of that. Even today, as an adult, I enjoy all of that because I get to have that memory. And so when I realized, that Santa Claus was really a made up thing, right? When I realized that, um, I think I kind of went through a little bit of a depression. It wasn't around Christmas time that I realized it. So my mom had time to figure it out. So I'm trying to be ahead of my son, right? I want to have this figured out. So by the time that the holidays rolled around that year, because it was, you go back to school in August, and so the kids were already talking about Santa Claus and the fact that he doesn't exist and stuff, and they gave a pretty good argument for the reason why they thought that, and so I gave in and gave up Santa Claus. Well, my mom had time to think about what she was going to do. And so that next Christmas, she sat me down after Thanksgiving and she said, we're going to start our Christmas shopping now. And I said, okay. And she said, I want you to make a list of all the people that you would like to give a gift to. And I said, what? And she said, yeah, I don't want you to make a list for Santa Claus. I want you to make a list of all the people that you love and care about that you want to make sure get a gift this year. I didn't really understand, but I did as I was instructed because my mom was 4'11", but let me tell you, she could be 9 foot tall real quick if you didn't follow directions. Okay, so I sat down and I made my list, and I don't know why we're having this conversation today, but anyway, Joe started me on it, so here we are. And I made my list, and I had a lot of people that were near and dear to me in the community, right? Um, they were maybe shut-ins or didn't have a lot of family or elderly people. They were people that we would take Thanksgiving dinner to, right? Like our family would have Thanksgiving dinner, and we lived in a town of like 350, 60 people. Okay, 100 or so of those people were only seasonal because the river, and so everybody knew everybody. You couldn't buy a new car that everybody didn't know what color it was and what make it was before you got home. That kind of town. And so um, we had a conversation, and she said, "Oh, I was telling you. I'm sorry. I was telling you. You froze again. Oh, okay. So I was telling you. It is what it is. I think we've lost the channel. I apologize, y'all. It is what it is. YouTube is just doing something really stupid. I'm going to keep going so that hopefully the recording will be better than the YouTube actual live presentation. But anyway, at Thanksgiving, our family would do our dinner, and then we would plate up everything. Instead of having a lot of leftovers, we would plate up everything really nice and pretty and cellophane or aluminum foil over it, and we put it in our car, and we would go around and we would feed all of the people that didn't cook or didn't have family, and we would make sure that we took them goodies like cakes and pies and stuff too. And it was a feeling of joy and love for me. Like, I genuinely enjoy and love the holidays immensely, all the holidays. And so um, we did that, and then she noticed that a lot of those people were on my Christmas list. So then she sat me down and she said, "Tomorrow is Saturday, and we're going to go out because this happened on a Friday night, right? I can remember it like it just happened." She said, "We're going to go out tomorrow on Saturday, and we're going to, some of these things we're going to buy, some stuff, and for some people on your list, we're actually going to make their gifts." And I said, "Make their gifts? I don't understand." And she said, "Well, baked goods and decoupage and Christmas ornaments made from the heart. All of these type of things are very are warm, are very nice things to do for people, uh, on your list." And so I agreed. Obviously, I mean, she was my mom. What was I going to do? Say no? And so the next day we went out and we did start doing some shopping. And when we started doing some shopping, we got the things that we needed to do the baking or the crafts or the gifts that we actually purchased. That was the year that I realized that I am Santa Claus. So ho ho ho, everybody. And I would like to challenge everybody today. Joe and I had decided we were going to talk about giving today. So I want to circle around and grab that. Bitcoin is on its way up again. We've all been fortunate. Every single one of us have a roof over our head. We have a computer to look at. We have internet. We have phone. We have clothes. We have winter coats. We all have a great life in comparison to so many others. So I'm going to challenge each and every one of you all to become Santa Claus this year. And, you don't have to buy a gift. You can make a gift. You can bake and take baked goods and put them in cans, right? Put them in boxes. Take them to people that take them to people that may not have the desire. Sometimes it's not about the money. Sometimes it's about the desire, right? And so, yeah, I want to make sure that everybody has the desire, that everybody has the ability to be Santa Claus, and that everybody loves one another. So give. Start thinking about giving. I guarantee you, if you give a little bit every single day between now and the Christmas holidays, your holiday is going to be phenomenal. Phenomenal. Okay? Love you guys. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. I continued on with this, hoping that the recording would come out in one piece and that everybody would get the recording. There's a good message here, okay? Give, 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 give. I love you guys. I thank you guys. Joe loves you guys, and he thanks you so much. You know, he's not the type to say a whole lot of that. Like, that's just not his style. He's a little bit more, you know, out there, and we're a little bit opposite in a lot of ways, but we balance each other very nicely, and we couldn't do this without you guys. And we want to thank all of you for sticking with us. And we'll be back here tomorrow at 2 p.m. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you all. And Joe says he loves you, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.